The Dark Knight tells you the Joker lost. Batman says it to his face. Gordon delivers a whole eulogy about it. The music swells and the credits roll. And for nearly 2 decades, that's been the accepted reading. But there's a clue buried in the screenplay that the film doesn't want you to notice. Something so damning it proves the victory speech was a lie. In the screenplay, the civilian Ferry votes on whether to blow up the prisoners, and the result is 340 votes for death, 196 against. 63% of innocent civilians voted for mass murder. But in the final film, the Nolans looked at 340 votes for genocide and said, that's not damning enough. In the final cut of the film, we see 396 for, 140 against, 74%. 3 out of 4 passengers on the Spirit of Gotham marked a ballot that said, kill them all. And after the ferries didn't explode, Batman says this to the Joker's face.
This city just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good.
He's standing over a defeated clown delivering a victory speech, but somewhere on that ferry there's a box with 396 ballots in it. Each one is a vote for murder. Batman isn't celebrating a moral victory, he's burying the evidence. So the vote happened, 396 for death. The question is, why didn't the boat blow? The Joker's thesis is very simple.
When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
And 74%, an overwhelming majority, proved him right. They voted to eat each other. So what stopped them? Watch that scene again. The businessman who pushed for the vote takes the detonator. He walks to the middle of the ferry. He argued for this. He represents the will of 396 voters.
No one wants to get their hands dirty. Fine. I'll do it. Those men on that boat, they made their choices. They chose to murder and steal. Doesn't make any sense for us to have to die too.
He's not wrong at all about the logic. This is democracy working exactly as designed. And he can't do it. He puts the detonator down, sits back in his seat, and waits to die. The film frames this as redemption, but he already cast the vote. He already argued for execution. The only thing he couldn't do was be the executioner. Now, some of you might be thinking that this is a moral victory. Choosing not to act on murderous impulse is the definition of restraint. And I think that's fair. It is the strongest counterargument to this entire theory. The film explicitly frames his hesitation as moral triumph. But consider this. If 396 people voted to execute you, and the only thing stopping them was that nobody wanted blood on their hands, would you feel morally vindicated? The intent was murder, but the only obstacle was nerve, not principle. The Joker didn't ask if they could kill, he asked if they would, and 396 people answered yes. The only thing missing was someone willing to sign the paperwork. A jury that votes guilty but can't find an executioner hasn't acquitted the defendant, they've just created a logistical problem. Meanwhile, on the prison ferry, something different happens. The convicts don't vote, they don't hold a debate. One of the prisoners walks up to the warden and just says this.
You don't want to die, but you don't know how to take a life. Give it to me, and I'll do what you should have did 10 minutes ago.
The warden hands it over, and the prisoner throws it out the window. The criminals showed more moral agency than the civilians. The prisoners made a decisive ethical choice. The civilians voted for genocide and then got squeamish about the follow-through. Now, we don't know how the prisoners might have voted if they had the opportunity to. Maybe they would have been just as bad. And you're right, we don't know. The prisoners didn't hold a vote. But here's why I don't think that argument saves Gotham. If your defense of the civilians is that they're no worse than the convicted murderers, the innocent are just as morally compromised as the guilty isn't a flex. The suit doesn't make you better than the jumpsuit. If 396 people voted to execute you, would you feel relieved that they couldn't find someone to pull the trigger? The intent was there. The only thing missing was nerve. The Joker's thesis wasn't disproven, it was just confirmed with an asterisk. Civilized people will eat each other, they just need someone else to hold the fork. And this wasn't even the first time Gotham's civilians proved Joker right. Earlier in the film, the Joker makes an announcement.
If Coleman Reese isn't dead in 60 minutes, then I blow up a hospital.
Reese isn't a criminal. He hasn't hurt anyone. His only crime is threatening to reveal information. And Gotham's response? Regular citizens start trying to kill him. A mob floods the doors of the TV studio. One of them fires a gun at the building, trying to hit Reese through the glass. A guy tries to ram his truck into the police convoy. A cop whose wife is in the hospital pulls his gun on Reese in the back of a squad car. These aren't mob enforcers or career criminals. These are ordinary people. Office workers, commuters, someone's neighbor, forming a lynch mob in broad daylight. The Joker didn't even have to offer them anything, he just had to give them a little push. Okay, but the Joker still lost, right? The boats didn't blow, he's hanging upside down at the end, and yes, you're right, he does seem surprised when midnight strikes and nothing happens. Watch the Joker's face at midnight. The smile disappears. It's the only moment in the film where the Joker looks genuinely rattled. He glances at the clock, double-checking the time. His hypothesis failed. The bodies didn't drop. And look at the civilians when the businessman puts the detonator back in the box. They hang their heads, almost like they're all ashamed. The Joker's experiment didn't produce corpses. It produced 396 confessions. For the Joker, the fairies were never the real bet. Remember, Nolan's changed the vote count to make the civilians more murderous. Now, whether intentional or not, the effect of the higher vote count is that it makes the Joker's thesis more damning. The text speaks for itself. The 396 votes prove his thesis. He just didn't need the explosion. And that's because the Joker has a backup plan. He always had a backup plan. The agent of chaos persona is the biggest lie in the movie.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things. I'm an agent of chaos.
This speech is genius-level counterintelligence. The Joker tells this to Harvey Dent, a man who just lost everything and desperately wants to believe his tragedy was random. Because if Rachel's death is planned, it's personal. But if it's chaos, it's just bad luck. Maybe the Joker genuinely believes he's an agent of chaos. Maybe he's so far gone he can't see his own patterns. But his actions contradict his words completely. Judge him by what he does, not what he says. Look what the dog chasing cars actually accomplished. The bank heist alone proves the point. The Joker checks his watch. He circles Grumpy, the last surviving henchman, into position during their standoff. He scooches right. Grumpy mirrors him. When Grumpy's standing exactly where he needs to be, the Joker just waits. The bus crashes through the wall. Grumpy is standing exactly where it needs to hit him. That's not chaos, it's choreography. The school bus arrives at the exact second necessary to kill the last henchman. Vault drilling time, cache loading time, school district bus routes, all calculated. The school bus routes are public schedules. He did the math. The hospital explosion requires rigging an entire building while it's being evacuated. The ferry gambit requires hundreds of diesel barrels, coordinated engine failures on both boats, and planted detonators while the city is on high alert. A dog chasing cars doesn't memorize bus timetables or wire hospitals. The Joker is disciplined wearing chaos as camouflage. And his most disciplined move, the one that won the war, happened in the interrogation room. The interrogation scene is where Batman thinks he's winning. He's beating the Joker's face against glass. He's getting the information he needs. Harvey is at one address, Rachel is at another.
He's at 250 52nd Street, and she's on Avenue X. That's just who.
And Batman doesn't hesitate. He makes his choice immediately.
Which one you going after? Rachel.
He goes to Avenue X. He finds Harvey.
No! No! No, not me! Why are you coming to me?
Most interpretations say the Joker lied to cause chaos, but I think the Joker lied to cause a specific outcome. But is it possible the Joker just wanted to cause general chaos and got lucky with the swap? Sure, but if the swap was random, it's 50-50 which location Batman picks. But the Joker didn't leave it to chance. He profiled Batman. Earlier in the film, the Joker crashes Bruce Wayne's fundraiser. He threw Rachel out of the penthouse window, and Batman abandoned a room full of hostages to dive after her. Now, maybe Batman would have done that for any civilian, but the Joker isn't working from Batman's internal monologue. He's working from observed behavior. What he sees is Batman abandoning everyone else to save one specific woman. A woman the Joker already identified identified as Harvey Squeeze.
You must be Harvey's squeeze.
And of course, during the interrogation, this is reiterated. He says this.
You know, for a while there, I thought you really were, Dent. The way you threw yourself after her.
So it's evident he swapped the addresses on purpose. By telling Batman that Rachel was at Avenue X, the Joker guaranteed that Batman, the most capable rescuer in the city, would save Dent and Rachel would die. This is surgical precision. The Joker needed Dent alive to complete the corruption, and dead Dent is a martyr. A living Dent, burned and grieving, becomes Two-Face. But here's what's interesting. Two-Face already existed. After the explosion, Dent wakes up in the hospital. Gordon visits him, and Dent says something that most audiences might forget.
Remember that name you all had for me when I was at Internal Affairs?
Two-Face, Harvey Two-Face.
The cops called him Two-Face long before the explosion, the Joker, and Rachel's death. They saw the duality in him when he was investigating them. Now, maybe that nickname was just about aggressive interrogation tactics. Internal Affairs officers do get nicknames, but consider what Dent does earlier in the film, before Rachel dies. Thomas Schiff, the mentally ill man from Arkham. Dent holds a gun to his head, flips a coin, and threatens to execute him in an alley. This isn't a hero having a bad day, it's a pattern. The scarring didn't create Two-Face, it just gave him a costume. Batman's love was weaponized against him. His choice was stolen. He thought he was saving Rachel, but he was delivering his enemy's ace in the hole, an ace that was already in the deck.
You didn't think I'd risk losing the battle for Gotham's soul in a fistfight with you. You need an ace in the hole.
The smile disappeared at midnight because Plan A didn't produce bodies, but Plan B was already complete. Dent was already broken. The Joker didn't need the fairies to explode, he just needed Batman to lie about what happened next. This is the true ending of The Dark Knight. Not the ending the film sells you, the ending the screenplay proves. Harvey Dent is dead. He murdered 4 people. He threatened to execute Gordon's child. The White Knight of Gotham becomes a monster. And what's Batman's solution?
I can do those things because I'm not a hero. I killed those people. That's what I can be. Because sometimes truth isn't good enough. Sometimes people deserve more.
Batman takes the fall. He becomes the villain. And Gordon sells the lie.
Because it's the hero Gotham deserves. But not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt him because he can take it.
The film sells this as a heroic sacrifice, Batman choosing to be hated so Gotham can believe in something pure. But look at what actually happened. The Joker's thesis was that civilized society is a facade. Rules hold only when convenient, and given enough pressure, the good guys become as corrupt as everyone else. And he was right. Batman built an illegal surveillance state to catch him. Every cell phone in Gotham became a microphone.
Beautiful, unethical, dangerous.
Fox calls it. It's too much power for one person.
Too much power for one person.
He threatens to resign over it, and rightfully so.
But consider this my resignation. As long as this machine is at Wayne Enterprises, I won't be.
But doesn't Batman destroy the system at the end? He gives Fox the kill code. Problem solved, right? Well, no. The precedent is set. He proved he would burn civil liberties to catch one criminal. The system being destroyed doesn't undo the surveillance that already happened. It just prevents further use. The Joker forced Batman to become a tyrant, even if only temporarily. And here's the thing. That's the same logic as the Ferry. 396 people voted for murder, but they didn't follow through, so it doesn't count, right? Well, no. The intent was there. The action was taken. Batman violated every single Gothamite's civil liberties that night. The fact that he cleaned up after himself doesn't change what he did. Evil justified as means to an end is still evil. Batman's one rule was no killing, but his other principle, the one he never stated, was that he operated outside the law to uphold the law, not to replace it. The surveillance system doesn't break his no-kill rule. It breaks something deeper, the premise that Batman is better than the system he's fighting. Alfred burned Rachel's letter, the one that said she was choosing Harvey, so that Bruce would never know the truth.
You can wait.
It never gets delivered. Gordon covered up the crimes of his own corrupt department. Wirtz and Ramirez, the cops who delivered Dent and Rachel to the Joker. Dent warned him earlier in the film.
Gordon, I don't like that you've got your own special unit. And I don't like that it's full of cops I investigated at Internal Affairs.
Gordon dismissed the concern. Ramirez later delivered Rachel directly to the Joker's men. And when it all fell apart, the noble lie covered Gordon's failures too. Whether Gordon consciously chose to lie to protect himself is debatable. What's not debatable is that the lie achieves both ends, protecting Dent's reputation and Gordon's competence from scrutiny. The effect serves Gordon regardless of the intent. The lie doesn't just protect Dent's legacy, it also protects everyone who failed to stop him from becoming what he became. And there's also a line earlier in the film that explains everything. Bruce asks Alfred how he finally caught the bandit in Burma, the one who threw away the jewels because he just wanted to watch the world burn.
In the forest in Burma. Did you catch him?
Yes.
How?
We burned the forest down.
This is exactly what Batman did. He burned down Gotham's civil liberties to catch the Joker, then burned the truth to preserve Dent's reputation. The victory at the end of The Dark Knight is the fire. The Joker is in a cell in Arkham. His ideology is running Gotham. The Dark Knight doesn't end with the triumph of good over evil, it ends with the quiet admission that the Joker was right. The truth is too dangerous for civilized people to handle, so Batman buries it. The Dent Act brought 8 years of peace. So did Madoff's checks. The peace was deferred chaos with accruing interest. 8 years later, Bane reads Gordon's confession letter, and the lie collapses. Gotham tears itself apart overnight. The Dent Act was fraud, and the moment that fraud was exposed, so was the foundation. But that's a conversation for another day. The Joker proved that the civilized world is a joke. Batman is the one who has to tell it. But is adopting tactics truly losing? Didn't he just adapt? Surely using surveillance as deception is the pragmatic thing to do, right? But the question isn't whether the tactics worked. The question is whether they proved the Joker right. His ideology was that civilized people would abandon their rules under pressure. Batman did, Gordon did, and the civilians did. The only characters who didn't abandon their principles were the convict who threw the detonator away, and possibly Alfred, who lied not to survive but to protect Bruce from despair. The morality of deception is debatable. The Joker's prediction is not. He said the rules would break. And they broke. The Joker lost the battle. The ferries didn't explode. He's hanging upside down, but he won the war. Because wars aren't won with explosions. They're won when your enemy adopts your tactics. And if this breakdown rewired your understanding of a movie you thought you knew, click like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Do you think the Joker's thesis was proven right? Or is intent without action still a loss? And if you want to see another movie lie to you about who the real villain is, click this video where I put Nick Van Owen on trial for every death in the Lost World Jurassic Park.